Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and in this video I'm going to tell you about the detoxifying effects of quitting sugar and starting a ketogenic diet. So I'm also going to talk about the anti-inflammatory effects, the weight loss effects, and a lot of other things similar to those, but in general, this video is going to be about quitting sugar and what it will have in terms of the effect on your body when it comes to anti-inflammatory stress and reducing oxidative stress, and overall helping you be a better person. So, if you plan on quitting sugar, this is absolutely my favorite dieting approach out there, and I feel great every time I do this, whether it's for fat loss goals, whether it's for my overall lifestyle or how I feel. I always feel a lot sharper when I cut out sugar, and there's a lot of reasons for this. I'm going to start off by talking about the generalized effects you're going to get from quitting sugar, and then I'm going to talk more about the anti-inflammatory and the detoxifying effects of quitting sugar. So, the biggest thing is that whenever you quit sugar, you're changing your body's energy source to fat. Because every time you stop intaking carbohydrates, what's going to happen is your body is going to be forced to use its own fat and the fat that you're eating as energy. This is why keto diets are often referred to as high-fat diets, when in reality they're simply low-carb diets where, as a byproduct of that, your fat intake goes higher in order to hit your calorie goals. So, when it comes to cutting out sugar and the brain effects and how you're going to feel in terms of sharpness, getting your body off of this roller coaster of blood sugar is going to do miles for your brain. It really will. Your body and your brain are, well, particularly your brain, is much better suited to run off of fat than glucose. And this is because your brain is like 60% fat, and it's saturated animal fat is what it is, and that's what most of our body is as well. All the fat in your body is saturated animal fat. Your brain is made predominantly of fat, and 30% of your brain is made of the omega-3 DHA fat. So basically what this does is, this is the type of fat that is so conducive for brain function, and that's why people take fish oils for their brain. Even just by eliminating the carb sources, you're going to be making your body much more reliant on fat, which is a much more stable and slow-burning energy source. With carbohydrates, your energy source, whether it's for your body or your mind, is going to be based on your intake. So you take carbohydrates, then they digest and the blood sugar drops, and then you want to repeat the cycle all over again, because sugar is a little bit addicting like that. And when you cut it out, you basically remove that whole dynamic from even existing. So basically from there, your body's going to take small amounts of carbs from, green vegetables, and maybe any other small amounts of carbohydrates from like salad dressings or things like that, small sugars, nothing that's really big enough to impact your blood sugar in a meaningful way. So overall, what this ends up doing is your focus and your, energy is going to be like that, except it's going to be like that up here, instead of just spiking all the time and being really good shortly after you eat and then dropping a couple hours after your meal. So in terms of how your sharpness is going to be, you're going to be using a better, more preferred energy source for your brain in terms of your body and your physical performance. So when you do a ketogenic diet and you cut out sugar and you cut out all carbs altogether, this is absolutely something that's worth doing. It's worth doing more than cutting out just sugar. So if you click this video because you're interested in just cutting out the sugar, you should really consider cutting out all the carbohydrates altogether, because even though cutting out sugar in processed foods is very beneficial, sugar is still sugar, and carbs are still going to turn into sugar in your blood. And when it's in your body, it's going to react the same way as eating, 40 grams of sugar is going to react the same way, whether it's from whether it's from bread compared to a Twinkie. Cutting out all sugar and all processed sugar really would be improved massively upon if you had cut out all carbohydrates. So that's my little plea for you to do that there, and to open your mind to that if you weren't open to it already. As far as the energy sources for your brain, carbohydrates energy sources for your body. Carbohydrates require an extra step in order to be converted into energy for your body. So our body's energy is called ATP. And when you're using a ketogenic lifestyle, and that's in place in your diet, your body needs one less step to create energy, which is ATP. When you're eating carbohydrates, your body needs to convert the carbohydrates into something called pyruvate before it actually is able to be turned into ATP. And basically, when you have a ketogenic lifestyle, your body's able to take the energy and make it all within the cell instead of having to convert it into pyruvate in the first place. Complicated and unnecessary to know that, but at the same time, all you have to know is that consuming no carbohydrates altogether and no sugar altogether is going to result in your body being a more efficient energy creating machine, whether it's for your brain or your body. At first, it's going to take a little bit of time to get your body used to this. It's going to feel very difficult the first 3 days, but after that, your body's going to adapt and it's going to start using fats for energy much more smoothly, and your blood sugar cravings are going to go down like crazy. So as far as the detoxifying effects of sugar, when it comes to detoxifying your body, when you get your body into this fat burning mode, your body is going to basically get rid of most of the toxins that's stored within your fat cells. So if you have anything over 10% body fat, and really, even if you're very lean, any amount of fat that you have is going to not only store nutrients, but toxins. So everybody has a certain amount of toxins in their body from certain foods. Most of them tend to come from processed grain products, mold toxins, which would get on those grain products, animal products that weren't healthy because those animals would store toxins in their fatty components, and if you ate those, that would be even worse. But the point is, when you start losing fat on a ketogenic diet, your body is dipping into fat stores much more rapidly than it is on a macro diet or a calorie diet, and your body's burning fat a lot more effectively because it's already in that mode. So when you're in that mode and you're burning so much fat, your body's going to basically be burning up all the toxin-infused fat that would be stored in your body. So over the course of a whole diet, if you lose 30 pounds and that 30 pounds came from your gut, you can be sure that wherever those 30 pounds came from, many of the toxins that were stored within them were excreted, and the nutrient component were used as an energy source. So this is often why people say you have bad breath if you do a low-carb diet. This is only for the people who have a lot of toxins stored in their body. I mean, nobody's breath smells good if you don't brush your teeth for a while, but at first, for a lot of people, you're going to have bad breath, and this is a sign that your body is getting rid of most of the toxins that are stored in your fat. So that's just the toxin reducing benefits of a ketogenic diet, and that's much more of a consistent thing that you'll notice right away. Well, sorry, not right away, over the longevity of things, but you'll definitely notice it after a couple of weeks or so. When it comes to the things that you're going to notice right away, you will absolutely notice your energy levels and your focus, which I had already kind of illustrated, especially with my hands earlier in this video. When it comes to anti-inflammatory benefits, this is one of the main reasons why people do a ketogenic diet altogether, because when you're not consuming certain sugars, so even if it's the best source of sugar, if it's the most natural, if it's from fruits, apples, even things like that, what you're doing is you're still consuming sugar. And if it's a natural source of sugar, so it comes from fruit, all that type of sugar is called fructose, and it's going to get digested in your liver and create a little bit more oxidative stress in your body. So oxidative stress is stress that comes from oxidizing things in your body. And the only sources really of all the problems in your body are going to come from inflammation or oxidative stress. If you can reduce those, you're doing a lot for your body. And cutting out sugars and cutting out even fructose, which is going to come from either fruits or it's sometimes added into other processed sugars because it tastes sweeter. So a lot of the sweet food products or processed foods or Twinkies or whatever the hell it may be, they are often sweetened with fructose. And I'm sure you've heard of high fructose corn syrup. That's sweetener in a lot of things, alcoholic beverages, lots of things that are processed. And when you cut out fructose altogether, it's going to create a lot less oxidative stress in your body. It's going to take a lot of the taxing off of your liver because this is where fructose gets processed in your body. When you cut out all sugar and all glucose, all the glucose that would come from starchy sources are also going to reduce inflammation in your body. Even for some people who have celiac disease or gluten intolerances, This is an autoimmune response that comes from your body. Basically, it creates a stress signal in your body, and it makes your body start attacking its own cells as a result of the stress signal, which your body is misinterpreting from eating the gluten, for example, if you have celiac disease or gluten intolerance. And some other carbohydrates have this response in people as well. It could just be certain starchy carbs. It could be something that you've gone your entire life without noticing, and maybe you've just thought that you felt, fatigued or tired or kind of crappy after certain foods. Or maybe you didn't even associate with any foods. Either way, if you've ever felt crappy after eating certain foods, you're not really going to feel that on a ketogenic diet or a no sugar, no carb diet. When you remove many of the starchy processed carbs, you're also removing mold toxins, because many of the grains that are used in either processed foods or certain wheat products like breads and stuff like that, they often are exposed to certain mold toxins. And actually, if you've ever heard of the Bulletproof diet, Dave Asprey talks a lot about mold toxins because he had some sort of experience when he was younger where he inhaled a lot of mold toxins. But as far as this video concerns you, cutting out lots of grains is going to reduce even more inflammation and oxidative stress, because you're cutting out a primary source of toxins where they get exposed to most frequently. Also, a lot of these grains and other stuff are sprayed with pesticides, and you don't really want to be consuming those. Yes, you do have to watch out for unhealthy animal products and their fat, but this is all going to be due to the basic grocery store, cheapest, heaviest processed meats. The less processed you can get a meat, the better. The more local and natural the upbringing of the animal is going to be even better. But in general, it's still a better idea to eat healthy animal products opposed to processed animal products. And when you're trying to avoid mold toxins or other toxins that get involved with lots of foods, it's much easier for those toxins to get involved with foods that have a larger shelf life. Something that's going to be in a refrigerated section for a couple months at max is going to be exposed to a lot less, preservatives is the word I'm looking for, than something that is a product that's only going to be on the shelf for a week or two, a couple weeks. Obviously, you do want to get, the least bacteria infested foods, but that's an extra step above. In general, cutting out sugar is going to remove a large amount of those toxins and a large amount of those starchy carbs that could have a immune response to you. They could have an inflammatory response within your body if you're one of those people. Cutting out the sugar altogether is going to put a lot less stress on your body. It's going to be easier for your body to make energy. That's going to make a lot less oxidative stress on your body as well. Your body really prefers to have fat as an energy source, and that's why we store it. We store a lot more fat in our bodies compared to sugar, and the amount of sugars we store are basically used for the muscle energy, and then from there, a little bit more in the liver, and that's it. Once you're done with those sugar sources of energy within your body really wants to use this fat that we're storing. And that's why you never see any other animals in the animal kingdom get as obese as certain humans can. Because the prevalence of sugar and high processed sugar is going to have a much larger effect on your ability to get obese. People will like to tell you that you need to do that you can do a macro diet, calories are the only thing that matter. But if your calories are coming from high glycemic, sugar-dense products, it doesn't matter if you're eating in a calorie restriction or not. You're going to have a much better time if you're cutting out that sugar, and you're going to gain much less fat if you're not eating that sugar. So this is actually going to be a little bit I throw in here. I don't know if I chop this into the video really weird or not, but this is going to be on the skin benefits of keto, because if you cut out sugar, basically you're going to make it a lot harder for yourself to get acne. And everybody still can get acne depending on hygiene and, where you sweat and whatnot. But a lot of times acne can come from your body releasing toxins, and it can come from sugar. So if you have, a lot of acne in your face, cutting out the sugar in your diet would greatly benefit you, because acne needs a sugar in order to create a pimple. That's one of the things I learned from my sister who did cosmetics, and she did a lot of stuff on dermatology. But in general, I looked it up myself. It checks out, and a lot of acnes require a sugar. A lot of problems in your body or blemishes in your body can thrive off of sugar. And cutting out the sugar is going to make your body thrive in terms of, reducing cancer cells, health of those cancer cells, because a lot of the ways that cancer cells survive is by thriving off of sugar. And one of the ways that doctors actually test to make sure that you have cancer is they'll inject sugar into you and see if the cancer cells start eating it. So cutting out those sugars is going to remove a lot of blemishes or in general problems in your body, because a lot of the problem makers in your body, whether it's from cancer cells or things like blemishes, they do thrive off of sugar as an energy source. And getting rid of that is going to starve them. Also, a lot of harmful bacteria in your body and in your gut thrive off of sugar, especially starchy, carb, yeasty sugars. So when you cut those out, you're starving your gut bacteria, the things inside you that are making you crave carbs, you're starving them of basically their source of energy. So eventually the healthier bacteria in your body will hopefully consume those and you'll hopefully be getting better bacteria from your diet. But overall, with the skin benefits as well, when it comes to pimples, or acne or some skin clarity, right? I mean, my skin isn't perfect, but it's pretty good, and I've had a lot of acne and stuff in the past, and I still get some here and there, but cutting out sugar is going to deprive your body of making pimples in a lot of ways. It's not going to be 100% effective, but I'll tell you that from my experience, it was very effective, and it's a good way to handle the problem at the source and your nutrition and what you're putting in your body, rather than putting creams and stuff on your body or resorting to intensive drugs or antibiotics before you do that. Also, with the toxins, certain foods, whether they're grain foods or not, I've talked about the toxins a little bit in this video, and sometimes your body will release toxins through the skin. The skin is the largest organ in your body, and it's one way that we reduce toxins, and it's one way that we rid ourselves of toxins. And if you have a large amount, that can come out as acne or skin blemishes or cellulite or things like that. And when you cut out these sugars, you're going to, whether it's blemishes or acne or not, any sort of skin imperfection that's caused by toxins coming out, so something like cellulite or certain, blemishes that aren't pimples, whether they're misformations or things like this, or deformities of some sort, a lot of those things can clear up over time if you cut out the sugar, because you might be cutting out some of the toxins that have created those imperfections in the first place. So that is much more of a cosmetic and side note benefit, but in terms of a lot of the problems in your body and the anti-inflammatory, the detoxifying effects of this diet, cutting out the sugar is going to starve your body of energy sources that basically can help the bad bacteria and the bad things in your body to thrive. So you want to cut that out, and cutting out sugar is going to be very beneficial. So hopefully I didn't chop this bit into the video too awkwardly, but if I did, that's a little benefit bonus for the video. Overall, getting your body to switch to this metabolism, this ketogenic fat adapted metabolism, is going to be way better even in the longevity of things. This is going to get your body in a state where it's able to burn fat very effectively. And fat is where your body stores nutrients. You're going to be using energy that basically you're going to be getting your next meal from a nutrient dense source of fat on your body, which if you're eating rice and beans all day, that's going to be a lot more nutrient dense than a carb product that was produced near possible pesticides, possible mold toxins. It was pumped with preservatives, so it had a larger shelf life. Even the subsidiary details of things, besides just the sugar itself, are going to affect the detoxifying results of your diet. So if you're eating too many of these starchy processed sugars, really cutting them out altogether and starting a ketogenic diet is going to be very beneficial for you. It's going to reduce inflammation in your body. A lot of people do it because they have arthritis or other inflammatory conditions, and there's a lot of supplements and things that can help this as well. But overall, handling things by the horns, grabbing your diet by the horns, because the diet is the horns basically of your whole health, that is where you're going to make the biggest benefit on your life. I absolutely recommend asking me any questions in the comments. I'll get back to you. I get back to everybody. I'd love to help out as many people as I can. So ask me some more questions. Maybe I'll make some videos on them as well. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Anthony Romano. Peace.